Today, we're exploring an interesting topic, and that is it better to build a custom N8N or Make.com workflow, or simply install a SaaS product for your AI agency clients? That's what this video is all about, and let's dig in. Quickly, if you're new to the channel, my name's Joel House. I've built my agency to $146,000 a month, and I'm here to help you accelerate your journey in the business model that's been so good for me. So let's continue. Now, overall, in this business model, there's two options you have, and these options really depend upon your clients. So the first option is, do you go a route of building a fully custom solution for a client, or do you install a solution that's already been built? Let me give you an example. If you want to generate AI-driven social media content for a client, let's say for LinkedIn, you've got options. You can go to N8N and you can build a module. You can build a workflow that will generate ideas, that will write the post, that will schedule a post or create a graphic for the post, and then obviously put it in their LinkedIn profile, and it'll do it automatically. That's one option. A second option is, and first option, depending on your skill and proficiency, can take anywhere from an hour to sort of 15 hours, depending on where you're at in your journey. The second option is you can use a tool like Bluecast and do a 1-hour interview once a month with your client, and just get Bluecast to do all the content creation for you. And for $29 a month, it'll do it. So what's the solution here? What's the better option? Well, it really depends on the client, and that's what we're going to explore. So let's dig into the pros and cons here. So when it comes to a custom build, and you're doing, let's say, N8N, every month there's a new LLM. Every month there's a new model. Every month there's something new that's coming up. Now, if you are building something that is truly custom, like today I was building one for a client where we are using a GPT module to come up with ideas, write the post. We're then using Google VO3 to generate like an absolutely pristine video to go with it. You're not going to be able to tell these apart. This client's obviously willing to spend a couple of dollars per video generation to have really fantastic content and catchy content. And if you've seen my previous video about the subject lines, how Opus was way more expensive but massively outperformed, I've got a suspicion it's going to be up on those cases. Now, the reason we went that route for this client is there's no out-the-box SaaS solution right now that enables video at that quality. No one's using VO3, so this is simply too expensive. And they're all using just DALL-E 3 sort of image generation, which is a bit average at best. Now, for that client, we went that route. Now, for another client that I'm working with, which is a chiropractor, they don't have a huge budget. So all we're doing is we're sitting down once a month and we're shooting a 1-hour Q&A with them on Riverside FM. Now, Riverside FM is a great platform for this because we're literally sitting down, recording them in a podcast style format, and that is then taking that content and we're splitting into clips and we're posting it on their Instagram. They get the ability to answer Q&A content. They get the ability to have truly awesome content, and it costs us like, $50 plus an hour of time to actually do it. Now, that client's on a small retainer. That's only like $700 a month to do and execute that. However, if you look at the scalability of that, we don't need to handle any tech. It's from day one, we can jump in, record a video, and then schedule it out. So that's one use case. Now, to give you an example, and let's just dig into some pros and cons here that I put together of a custom build. So speed to first value. So if you're doing a custom build, it depends. Sometimes it can take time to deliver value. Like the client we're doing the N8N build for, that's going to take about a week and a half of testing to deliver value. The chiropractic client, which we are using Riverside FM to shoot the content and then schedule it, that we actually got the first shorts out for them within 24 hours of them paying us. Because they paid us, we did an hour interview that afternoon, and then we had the first content out the next day. So the value there was much higher. Second, upfront costs. So if you have a client who wants to build a system, then you can obviously charge for that. Now, one of the challenges here, and this is something that I learned from my SEO days, is how custom do you get with your work depends on how hard you can scale. So if you are a skilled N8N developer, it's very easy for you to say, I can build anything with N8N. I can build anything with AI. The challenge with that approach is you can, but it takes time. So unless you've got clients lining up to pay you $30,000 to build new customized solutions that, can handle AI outbound call and ringless voicemail drops and email and WhatsApp messages and. If you don't have someone with huge budgets like that, you're better off just lining up a software, maybe like Flowchat as an example. And I'm not sure if you've seen, but I interviewed the CEO last year. You can line up a software like Flowchat to reach out on these platforms. Yes, it won't do AI voicemail or ringless voicemail drops, but it'll reach out on every platform. And then you can install instantly to do all your email. So for $600 a month worth of SaaS products, you can have something live within 7 days with warmed email accounts if you pre-buy them on instantly and just get it going. So that's the pro and con there. Then you've got to factor in the recurring costs. So if a client wants you to just build something and hand it over to them, again, it depends. Do they want to be paying for maintenance? Because yes, they can look at it and say, we're going to pay you to build a solution and hand it over to them, and they expect it to run forever. The challenge is, and I'm going to use this LinkedIn example, the first LinkedIn content creation workflow that I sold to a client, we used DALL-E 2 to generate images to go with it. Now, if you've used DALL-E 2, the images, sometimes I had like 7 fingers. And then DALL-E 3 was like, cool, that's a little bit better. And now you've got tools like VO3, which can generate real life-like videos. And if you're not sure VO3, if you've seen like the blogging Yetis, that's generated with a VO3, most of those. So hugely, hugely powerful tools. Now, for this LinkedIn client, let's say I hand them VO3 today. In 6 months' time, there is going to be new technology that's going to blow VO3 out the water. Maybe we're using VO3 to generate like B-roll style footage as an example to go with these clips. What if they want an AI avatar of themselves reading it? What if they want themselves vlogging it in different areas? That's things that we can add in the future. Now, these things are going to cost them additional retainers or additional maintenance contracts to install. So where it may look like it's just a couple of grand up front to build this, if they want to upgrade to the newest technology, it's going to cost them a lot more in chunks. We're going for a SaaS service, and I'm talking a SaaS service that truly is delivering whatever your solution is, not something, I love Bluecast for its simplicity, but it hasn't really updated its generation models. So that's like a really simple solution. That's why we use, like, say, Riverside FM for a lot of things now. So that's where, again, SaaS, you're going to have new features rolled out by default. And again, that's if you use, like, let's say, Captions app or Opus Clip instead of a custom N8N build to do the same thing, you're going to get new technologies rolled out. So again, it comes down to the client, how you want to quote. Obviously, API, webhook, flexibility. If you're using N8N, you can obviously do a lot more. You can integrate things via webhooks, via APIs. You can often find workarounds to get the job done, where SaaS is limited. And then maintenance, again, it depends on how you want to build your business. Now, for me, I like building my business with 2 revenue streams. I like to build a revenue stream for big cash projects, and I like to build a revenue stream for very easy maintenance retainer. Now, at the moment, about 80% of my money comes from low maintenance retainer. Only about 20% of my money comes from big cash flow projects. Now, those cash flow projects, and I'm talking like I'm working on one at the moment, it's probably going to be $60,000, $70,000 build. The MVP is almost live. It's going to be a very big build. It's going to take about 2 months to roll that out. It's a nice big chunk of cash, of free cash. There's very little overhead associated with it. It's cash I can essentially just put towards, a deposit for a property or something like that. That's fantastic. But if you are building your business on that, you are not going to have a business. You're going to have a glorified freelance operation. You want the retainers, as we've discussed before, to build a sustainable business on. And those retainers can either be white labeling a SaaS product. It can be a service contract where you lay out an upgrade schedule for an N8N build, or it can be simply operating a solution. Like, I've got a client that pays me very well just to operate their cold email system. The cold email system is built. It's running on a cold email platform, an Instantly, Smart Lead, Lemlist, variation. And all I need to do each month is utilize Clay, enrich the data, load it in, manage some inboxes, let it run. And that pays really well. That's what I'm talking about with low maintenance retainer income. You want that sort of project. That's how you build a business. And then ultimately the scalability. Like if you're doing huge builds all the time, and there's just two elements of scalability. One is obviously scalability within the platform itself. Like if you want to scale end-to-end and you want to fire off, hundreds of thousands of hits a day, different to if you're using a SaaS solution. Yeah, and then you've got vendor lock-in. This was actually a big one. We built a solution for a client using a third-party tool, and they wanted to shift because the cost kept going up and up and up. We couldn't. Where if you build an end-to-end, you got JSON. So there's lots and lots of different technical reasons there. Now, if we just jump across and look at some use case specifics here, if we look at cold email and personalization, you've got Instantly, you've got Smart Lead. They will AI assist copy. They'll run multi-inbox rotation. They'll do this stuff for you. Why do you need to build that from scratch? You don't. What I'd do in this situation is you can use end-to-end or Make to do your customization, and then you can run it from there. That's probably how I'd integrate AI with that. And that's actually what I teach. If you're using video, repurposing for LinkedIn, again, personally, use something like Captions app, Submagic, Opus Clip. Why would you build a full custom solution? Honestly, I don't see when that makes sense. I really don't. Not unless you want to be producing thousands of clips a day, maybe it's a faceless channel, something along those lines. I don't see why you do a custom video solution. This doesn't make sense in the business model we are in. Long form copywriting. Again, you can just go to ChatGPT. You can go to Jasper. You can go to some of these other tools that will train your AI based on your brand and let that run out and that have built-in scheduling tools. And for a couple $100 a month, you can deliver that to a client. When does it make sense to do a make.com build? Well, either if it makes sense for your business and what you want to achieve, or if they have like super proprietary information they don't really want feeding into these big SaaS tools, they're just maybe a little unsure there, that's when it makes sense. So ultimately, what's my thoughts on this, or what should you do as an AI agency? This ultimately comes down to your client. If you say, I'm going to sell, let's say as an example, proposal generators, and you have a really great end-to-end template, you're going to sell proposal generator. There is a business for that. Just like people that sell WordPress websites, there's a business for that. There's also a business for people that sell Wix or Squarespace websites or go high-level driven websites, and they'll build it on that and they'll collect a commission on the back end. Depends what you want to do. For me personally, I do about 70% of my income leveraging SaaS tools, about 30% of it's custom builds. Custom builds are more profitable. SaaS tools are more sustainable long term. So that's my perspective on this whole topic. Hopefully it's been helpful to you. This has been a little bit of an interesting video. I know I've been away for a few weeks. As you can tell, I've had a few very big projects to build. That's also one of the challenges of the big projects is it takes you away from the things that long term you need to be doing in order to help make your impact on humanity. For me, sharing this sort of information on YouTube, having been there, having done that, having built a very successful agency, and there's a lot of people out there that are starting, and I watched people that were starting. Those people since have deleted all their YouTube content because they've gone on to build 9-figure SaaS companies. I just want to help people accelerate. So with that said, if you have any questions, please drop them below. Happy to help out in any way I can, and we'll see you in the next video.